right, welcome back to the Ottawa studios of Mastering Risk. I am your host, Dr. D. Today, we are talking about the top 6 preparedness mistakes that entrepreneurs make and how you can fix them. So sit back, grab yourself your favorite beverage. Let's get at it. All right, welcome back. Top 6 preparedness mistakes entrepreneurs make. We're going to go through them really quick, and then we're going to dive in detail. Number 1, no form of business continuity. They just wing it during a disaster. They have inadequate cybersecurity measures and employee training. Poor cash flow management. They have no runway when the shizzy hits the fizzy. Their over-reliance on a single logistics supplier or a single source of product. They have no backups, no data redundancy whatsoever. And then, most of all, you don't buy insurance, or what insurance you buy is wholly and totally inadequate. We're going to jump into those in specific little detail, talk about what we do here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated to cover these, talk about why these are important, and as we always say, short of buying insurance at the end, all the rest of them are free. They just take a little bit of education and a little bit of effort on your part, but they're absolutely free. Hey, listen, my name's Dr. D. I'm here running a wonderful company, Preparedness Labs Incorporated, at the website address preparednesslabs.ca down in the show notes. We run a proud 5-figure business. We talk about it all the time on this channel that 75% of small and medium businesses never get above $100,000 a year. Very few, so only 25% of businesses that are running in North America between Canada and the United States actually have a top line revenue of 6 figures or higher, and of that, only 5% actually annually breach the 7-figure target. And then it's minuscule portion past that to your 8th and 9th figure. Everybody online, all of your influencers are talking about 3 steps or 7 steps or 6-step roadmap to get yourself to 7 figures next year, be earning $100,000 a month by the end of January. All that is great clickbait. But if you actually want to know how to fix mistakes that you're probably making just out of misunderstanding, or you're so focused on the important parts of your business and you want to protect a 5-figure enterprise like the rest of us, then sit back and listen. This is going to help you a great deal. So number 1, talking about no formal business continuity training. Now, I run a company where we offer formal business continuity consultants. Those start at $8,000 a year for a small and medium business. A lot of solo entrepreneurs and beginning startups are looking at $8,000 to $15,000 top line or bottom line revenue every year, and you can't be giving 50% of that away to a consultant like me to cover a risk management plan. So how do you do it a lot smarter? How do you do it a lot less expensive? Well, we have courses for sale that are far less than that, but on the free side, if you drop over to preparednesslabs.ca, on our website, there's start with free strategy guides, and right there is one for risk management. It's about an 7 or 8 pager. It gives you an idea what risk management is about. What it's meant to do is prime you and get you thinking about asking that really important question. What does your world look like when the bad day happens? Because according to the Small Business Administration in the United States of America, 91% of small and medium businesses will face some type of significant disruption every quarter. So if it's happening to 91% of the people 4 times a year, it's going to happen to you. And is your current plan just to wing it? Most entrepreneurs are. And it's not because they don't care. It's because there are so many things that you're managing right now as a solo entrepreneur, or with you and a partner juggling a new startup. There are so many things that you're trying to accomplish, from marketing to accounting to structure to operational problems to the logistics problems to everything else in between. Somebody comes along and says, oh, by the way, what does your business continuity plan look like? You're probably not going to give them the polite answer, right? And that's realistic. So how do you do this? It's just about sitting down, following that free, absolutely zero cost guide that we have that talks about the 4 different types of risk. Looking at the risk your company is exposed to in the cyber domain, in the operational domain, and that's your supply chain. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Your strategic. What is your plan for your company? Like, where are you trying to get to? What does your 1 and 2 year plan look like? What are you trying to achieve? And what risks are involved in that? And then reputational, right? We've all seen cancel culture. We've all seen an employee go on a rip on a Saturday night in a bar and get filmed, and it gets thrown up on the internet, and your company gets dragged through the mud because of it. All of those are risks that exist in the real world. Understanding them, understanding what your world looks like when the bad day happens to you, because statistically, you're going to get hit with something. It may not be a ransomware attack, but it could be a loss of your primary supplier in the logistics world, or it could be somebody accusing one of your employees of doing something racist and tying your company to that, and then you having to, on a Sunday morning, jump on social media and start defending everything that you've built. That stuff is real, and it happens every day. Are you ready for that? And so number 2 we're going to talk about is inadequate cybersecurity measures. And there's a reason why here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated, in our risk management training and our risk management course, we look at cyber first. Because cyber is everything. Every one of your operations, every one of your connection with your customers, all your software, all your point of sale software, and all the systems that support and allow your business to operate, whether you be in a digital product business like we are, a services business, or a physical product business, it all requires a significant and ongoing cyber presence, right? Just being on the internet is a risk in of itself, let alone attempting to conduct commerce. So what we say to people sitting in that world is, again, it's on our risk management guide, and we have a bunch of episodes on our podcast and our YouTube channel about how to manage risk management when it comes to cyber. There's a couple of simple rules. Number 1, enforce password changes. What we do here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated is everybody has to change every password every 30 days. And that means, so we're not all changing LinkedIn on one day, and we're not all changing, Facebook Meta Business Suite on the other day. We're all doing it at different times. So it's not like on Monday morning, LinkedIn gets changed. Tuesday morning, Meta gets changed. It's all interspersed, but everybody's password for every single activity that we engage with in every single program is changed a month. What we enforce is that everybody uses those random passwords generated by your online. We use Apple devices as our system here at the company. And so everybody uses Apple. Everybody uses the Apple keychain, and they change their Apple ID and everything, and the password and everything along with that to make sure. So that mitigates it. Does it prevent it? No. The second thing is every one of our software is on automatic update. And if we had hardware like alarm systems and things that we do for the building, they're on automatic update as well. Because one of the easiest ways for nefarious actors to access your systems is through unpatched software or unpatched hardware, which means you've let the updates lapse, you've let the updates go. You're using an old piece of hardware like an old phone or an old laptop that can't be upgraded, but you're still using it because it's helpful. But it's about 7 generations old when it comes to the Safari, the Mac OS or the Windows version. And all those updates aren't there, which means all those bug fixes aren't there. All the security patches aren't there. And it's a wide open backdoor for a nefarious actor to come in. So we take care of that. We make sure that the passwords are changed. We make sure that the automatic updates are on. And the third one that really works well here is we don't click on links or attachments. Full stop. We just don't. Absolutely not whatsoever. We use things like Dropbox instead of, so if we transfer a document to somebody else, it comes through a Dropbox. Now there's difference when you buy something from us on Shopify, there's a transfer through that, but there's protected software that governs that. But if you just randomly send me, hey, link here to register for something, nobody in the company will ever touch a link on an email for any reason whatsoever. Okay, full stop. It's just a practice we have here. Does that eliminate cyber risk? No, but those 3 free activities we do here have proven to be very, very helpful because we have likely avoided a number of phishing attempts and a number of other cyber attacks. So the third thing, and we've talked about this on another episode a couple of months ago, is cash flow management, right? The third preparedness mistake is cash flow management. It's worth repeating. Often what I've seen is 2 big errors. One is the big outlay. I'm going to be an entrepreneur, so I get the office, I rent the office space, I get the new laptop, I sign up for all the systems and all the deals, and before I know it, I'm buying myself into fixed overhead or fixed expenses, and I don't have any revenue yet to underline it, right? I don't have anything coming in to pay the bill. So I've set up these wonderful systems. I've gone to one of those work sharing places. I've got a cool office. I've bought a bag. I bought a bunch of swag. I got some color-coded t-shirts and a bunch of fancy metal business cards and all this stuff that I've invested in, pens and all the other stuff, right? I put that all together because I want to look really cool and I want to look bougie. The reality is, if you don't have the startup capital, then that doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense anyhow. But if you have the startup capital, there's many other better things I would argue you can do with it. The other mistake is not having runway, which means you're going to have nominal level of business expenses for every company. Now, I've got a YouTube video out on this channel. You can search for it. It talks about how to start a business in Canada for a grand total of $76 a year. Or $72 a year. That's it. That's all it costs in Canada. Other than your one-time $200 startup once in a life in the province of Ontario to set up a federally incorporated company, it costs you no more than $72 a year to run a company in Canada. Everything else you can do, short of insurance, which we'll talk about at the end, right? And so when you have a runway and you have 5-6 months worth of money to allow you to cover the basic expenses, then you can have a couple of months where, say, there's a bump in the road. There's something that happens in your operations. You have a problem in your supply chain, and now you're not sending out. You're not selling anything for whatever reason, say, for the next 6 weeks. Like your sales have gone to zero. But your activity's out there, your marketing's still out there, your paid ads are still out there, you might have employees, you might have contractual agreements for services, etc., that are still, money is still going out, but for whatever reason you don't have money coming in. So a lot of companies now, what we have here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated, I'd love to tell you that I've got 3 months of cash sitting in the bank, but I'm like every other small business. I don't have 3 months of operating expenses sitting in the bank. That'd be wonderful. The reality is what I have is a line of credit that's set aside that covers up to 3 months of full operating expenses and probably close to 5 if I really trim it down. So I have access to credit to keep the company going if a bad day happens and for whatever reason I'm not getting revenue, right? So those are the first 3, top half of the order. Talk about no formal business continuity plan. Everybody's just winging it. They don't have adequate cybersecurity inside their business, which means they're inadvertently opening the back door to a nefarious actor to take them down, and they have poor cash flow management. They're either outlaying a whole bunch of cash up front to look bougie and they're going to die a horrible death, business-wise, or they don't have enough runway for the bad day if their revenue crashes to zero for 4 to 6 weeks for whatever reason. The fourth one is supply chain and operations management. It's over-reliance on a single supplier or a single source for a product. That can either be 2 reasons. One is laziness. You just found a supplier. They give you what you want, so you just don't bother looking anywhere else and you just carry forward. Or 2, you've created such a niche product that only one known company is actually capable or in the business of providing the widget. What I like to use is the 5-widget example. Say I created a product. I made this really cool Ottawa Senators mug, and it has 5 parts. I'm going to make sure I have a supplier for all 5 of the parts, and I'm going to make sure I have a backup supplier. So now I have 10 suppliers. I'm going to regularly order parts from all 10 suppliers. So I keep those relationships going. There's a positive relationship. I know the people at the business. I have regular orders with them. So if one of them go down, I have an active relationship with the backup to be able to continue ordering there. It's not like a panic buy where I'm calling around to see if anybody has the 4th piece to my widget that I can miraculously order 1,000 units on short notice, right? They don't know who I am. And even if they could, they may not do business with me. And if they did, the rates are probably going to be through the roof, let alone emergency shipping. Relying on a single supplier is often an art of convenience and not an art of ignorance, but it puts you in the same position. Think about your entire supply chain end to end, and I'm a big supporter of the art of visualization. I'm a visual learner. I'm old school. I'm pointing up here. I've got a whiteboard. I want I'm always thinking things out on my whiteboard. So I'll sit up there and go, okay, I start here, then I go here, then I go here, then I go here, then I go here. Here are the 12 steps to my product's process, and I lay them all out. Here are all the suppliers. What happens if this one goes down? What happens if this goes down? I'm a veteran, so we talk about the phrase chalk talking, right? Chalk talk. What does my world look like when this goes down? This supplier, this system goes down. And you walk through the visualization. You're not necessarily writing these detailed contingency plans, but more importantly, what you're doing is understanding the multiple points of failure that exist in your supply chain. And now you're thinking about what can I do to mitigate that? And trust me, I'm a company that delivers digital products, right? So all of my products are digital. All of my products are online, but I do have suppliers, right? I have corporations, software that I buy to make video courses. I have software that I use to create this YouTube video. I have software to record the podcast audio. What if that software is not available to me? I'm sure there's another piece of software out there, but is that the time I want to try to figure out where it is and how to learn it when I have absolutely nothing? Or do I want to periodically use both pieces of software so I'm familiar with one, so if one, or familiar with both, so if one of them does go down, I have the ability to jump over to the other one with the least amount of disruption possible, right? Over-reliance can really take down your supply chain. And if you have to rely on a single supplier, you need to take a long, hard thought about whether the risk involved is worth continued business operations. The fifth one we want to talk about is backup. Off-site, offshore, air-gapped, use whatever phrase you want, data backup for your company. Think about all of the files that are important to your company. Think about all of your historical videos. Think about all of your data. Think about all your forms, all your contact, all your information that you're required to run the business. Now, so what we do is when you do that visualization in the supply chain, underneath it, we talk about doing a systems supply chain. And what I mean by that is just going, and this is what we do here at the company periodically, is we'll sit around the whiteboard and we'll say, okay, here are all the pieces of software that I use to execute this mission that we have. And here's the replacement or the alternate for that, and whether it will work or not. And then here are the data files that I need to make all of this work. Where is that compartmentalized data set aside? Now, what we do here is we use iCloud storage, and we have an offsite iCloud. Now, offsite just means, let's be honest, the server farm just means it's not up in the sky. We're not quite at the servers in space, though people are thinking about that. Really what it is it's a server farm somewhere in the United States or somewhere in Canada that it's just physically not here, right? But it's on the internet. That's my backup. But what I also have is a separate several terabyte hard drive. And I love the phrase air gap, which means that hard drive holds other than the last 24 hours, it has all of the backed up data for my company, and it's not connected to the internet. So it's not hit by a ransomware. If somebody gets in and steals all my passwords and shuts down my Shopify store, shuts down my social media, takes down my YouTube, captures my iCloud account, all of that, I've still got a hard drive with all of the source material. I've got a backup software program that I periodically use that I can set up. So within a day of having a complete seizing of absolutely every aspect of my company, within a day, I can be back up on the internet and selling again. I think that's worth an investment. Did it cost a little bit of money? Yeah, the backup drive cost me $70 at sale on Black Friday. It's not free. It's not a huge amount of money either. But the point being is that small investment I've made, as much as the disruption of losing access will be difficult, as much as getting back the access is important, and I'll eventually get that done, I know that all is not lost, that if I did permanently lose everything from that point, all the software, all of the data, all this YouTube channel, the podcast, it just disappears. And I've lost all of the data and all the followers. I know I can get up tomorrow using the backup material I have, open up a new website, 0 followers on every channel, pull out my system, sit down and relaunch with the core data that I need to be successful. Now the last one, the 6th one, is the one that is going to cost you a reasonable amount of money, is insurance. The first part of the conversation we have to have about is insurance is you have to stop looking at it as an expense. You have to look at it as an investment. The reason I say this is twofold. One, talking about the physical space. If you have, and you run a business in a physical space, you're a bricks and mortar shop, etc. What do you want to be able to do when you lose your building? So whether it's a tornado, somebody drives a truck through it, there's a fire, I don't care the reason why. Your building where your business is physically located is gone. What do you want to be able to do? Do you want to be able to lease a new space tomorrow, order in supplies and be up and running in a week? If you own the building, do you want to be able to rebuild? Do you want to be able to put up rent a temporary trailer and park it in the parking lot and run your business out of the same place? Like, what do you want to be able to do when the bad day happens? That should drive the insurance that you purchase. It's an investment to protect. The other standard one is what we call errors and omissions insurance. And errors and omissions, EO as they call it, it just simply means when I say something on the internet and somebody believes I told them to do A, they did A and it didn't work out and they think their loss or their harm is my fault, then they can try to sue me. Or they can try to take me to court because my product didn't deliver what they thought it should have delivered. Or they think I said something, they're accusing me of saying something that is untrue, invalid, or really bad advice. Whatever it may be, we live in a litigious society. People are going to sue. Having insurance for that means, yes, the business may not have many assets, but the insurance covers protection against that. Then there's also liability. If somebody is on your building property and they slip and they fall, and now they want a free vacation for the rest of their life and get you to pay 75% of their wages because for some reason while they can take a ski vacation, they can't work anymore and they want to go on long-term and permanent disability. There are professionals like that throughout the world who try to get money off insurance programs all the time. But the last part of one that's emerged in the last year or two that I think is important to talk about is cyber insurance. Now, I'm not an expert in cyber insurance. I want to be clear about that. I think cyber insurance is necessary. I buy theft and identity theft insurance. It's not quite cyber insurance, but I buy it and it pays for very specific outcomes that I want. Again, I know the outcome I want, so I went and found the policy that gave me that outcome, vice going to a broker and a broker saying, this is what you can buy. That's not what I want. Insurance companies will build you whatever you want if you're willing to pay the premium. So I said, this is what I want the outcome to look like when I have an identity theft. because it will happen eventually, right? So this is what I want it to look like. Great, not a problem. So I have that insurance. Some people advocate for buying cyber insurance to protect against ransomware attacks and to pay you damages when ransomware attacks happen. Ask the question, inquire with your insurance broker about it, look at the actual coverage that's available versus the coverage you think you'll need, the losses you might take, and then you're going to have to make a personal educated decision. But the one thing you need to be doing is looking at your insurance as a value, as an investment, not as an expense. It's the same thing for your house insurance. We see this all the time in the disaster and emergency management world, where people find out after a loss why they got the cheap rate. Why they said, my mortgage company says I need $2 million fire insurance, so I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to the broker and I'm going to buy the cheapest one that gives me the minimum amount of coverage, right? Not a problem, sign it off. I'm saving money. And then there's an inadvertent loss happens, and I realize very quickly why that was cheap. I didn't read all the exclusions. I didn't read all the limitations. I didn't read the deductibles. I went for this lowest premium, and now I'm in a world of hurt because of my own decisions. I will tell you this. When I renew my annual house insurance, just my house insurance, that conversation is an hour long booked with my insurance agent. An hour. I go through over a whole myriad of circumstances and potential events, exactly what the coverage is or is not, who makes what decision, what information, what's my role, what's my responsibilities. It's an hour to just renew my house insurance. If you have a business, it's the same thing. You're going to have to buy business insurance. Put the time and effort in to make it look. So a quick recap of the top 6 preparedness mistakes that entrepreneurs make and how to fix them. Number 1 is they don't have any formal business continuity thinking. We give the free risk guide at preparednesslabs.ca. Go over to the website, download it. It's right under the free strategies guide on the website. Pick it there. It's about 7 or 8 pages. It tells you everything you need to know. Inadequate cybersecurity procedures. We talked about the 3 things. Reset your passwords every 30 days. Force updates and patchwork to be done on your software and hardware. And don't click on links. Just don't. Period. Full stop. Just make it a culture of your business that nobody ever does for any reason whatsoever. The third one is poor cash flow management. Entrepreneurs will get out there and they don't have any money to burn or any credit to burn when the bad day happens and their revenue goes from here to here for 4 to 6 weeks. And we don't care why. Something happened, your revenue crashed, but you still have expenses. You still want to keep the company going. You need a runway. You need to plan for that. And then we have over-reliance on your supply chain. We have people who have this one really incredible widget. I need this part to make my product work, and I only have one supplier for it. I love that supplier, and tomorrow morning you get a standardized email that says the company's out of business. Any in-process orders are canceled, and oh, by the way, if we have your money, the creditors have it now anyhow. It's all over, and you're staring at an empty screen, and because you thought this was a good idea, you have no way of knowing who else could possibly support your operations. And now, after the event, you're scrambling to try to find a backup. The next one is we talk about off-site data storage, having some type, and we talked about a different couple of ways of air gapping it, offline servers, or iCloud storage server, whatever you may choose, some place that's not in the same physical location as your office, that has your data, the data you need. If you had to restart your company from zero because somebody hacked and took away all of your software, all of your passwords and everything, if you had to restart it tomorrow, would you have access to that data separate and distinct from your current internet operations? And the last one is insurance. We talked at length about insurance. Insurance is so important. Insurance is an investment. It's not an expense. Make sure that you understand what you think is covered is actually covered. Because we can spend all night talking about examples where a business owner bought this insurance expecting this to be covered, and then when the bad day happened, that wasn't covered. And guess what? They're on their own because the adjuster said sorry, but in clause 17.1, this is excluded. And there's nothing you can do about it because you didn't take the time ahead of time. So hopefully you found these 6 things helpful. They're what we do here at Preparedness Labs Incorporated. We gave you our very specific examples of what we do at the company to help overcome these and have a better prepared mindset. Thanks for dropping by. Check out our YouTube channel. Check out our podcast. Drop over to our website at www.preparednesslabs.ca. Whole bunch of free downloads for you. Take care. Stay safe.